Hey yo, what's good, Double Clutch Nation? It's your boy Y Ghost, and I'm joined by
the Yeti.
And today we're gonna be ranking NBA teams. But before we get into that, we have a couple announcements.
Number one, Memphis, watch your back. They waived Derrick Rose, and he officially declared for retirement after, 16 seasons? A lot longer than a lot of players.
The youngest MVP ever. And then we also have some unfortunate news. Rest in peace to who?
Rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. Mount Mutombo, also known as
a great man.
Fuck Memphis for waiving Derrick Rose.
And fuck brain cancer. For what?
For killing Dikembe Mutombo. We're going to have in the description a link that you can go to support research against brain cancer and cancer in general so that we can help try to find a cure for this.
In the comments, you guys should comment RIP.
Make sure you're saying RIP Dikembe. Along with saying RIP Dikembe, let's get in the comment section, Hall of Fame D-Rose. I want to see that going around.
On to the video we go. 76ers, where would you put them on this list?
I don't need to say. I mean, if you look at them, you got contenders, you got the playoff locks, you got the regular season merchants. Where do we think Joel is going to be? When's the last time they were in the finals?
Never. They weren't. I don't even think they've made a conference finals. They just don't get it done in the playoffs. They have Paul George now. But yeah, I think regular season merchants hits for this. Tyrese Maxey's getting better. They got Paul George, which I really like on this fit. But honestly, this team just doesn't get it done. They have to prove it to me. They haven't proved it to me. Joel Embiid needs to stay healthy. He usually doesn't stay healthy. Even when he is, he just doesn't get it done. So this team is definitely regular season merchants.
I feel like they definitely got a better chance now that they got Kyle Lowry, Kelly Oubre Jr., and Andre Drummond. No, they're they are purely regular season
keep it
merchants.
short and sweet.
No offense though, I love you, Paul George. I know you're watching this shit.
All right, to the next team. Shout out Podcast B. Milwaukee Bucks, man. This one hits home. Two of my favorite players, Damian Lillard, Giannis. Oh, come on.
I wouldn't even say that.
Are they playoff locks? I think they're playoff locks.
They're play-ins.
What?
Man, they've been kicked out.
Oh my gosh, they just need to stay healthy. They were not healthy.
One of them was by Miami, dog.
Oh my gosh.
They are ass.
Okay. I'm going to be biased, and I'm putting them in playoff locks.
They're not a playoff
We're doing it. Okay, go to Chicago. I can't do this.
We're at least putting it down to regular season.
Fine, we can compromise on regular season merchants. Chicago Bulls. I think they're bad. I mean, they lost DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine's your best player. Kobe White's improving. Lonzo Ball, who knows if he's ever even going to play basketball again. The Bulls are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and I think they fit in bad.
Hate aside, Josh Giddey's a good passer.
Josh Giddey is a good.
I feel like he's definitely adding a lot more offense to their team. And yeah, they got rid of DeRozan. Josh Giddey's a great passer. He's tall. He can shoot. He's got good mid-range.
I think it was a good pickup for them. I like it. It fits their team.
They got rid of Caruso though, and that's definitely the worst.
And he's one of the best defenders.
No,
so that's rough.
Actually, yeah, bad.
Yeah, bad fits.
Yeah. On to the next one, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, aka the team that LeBron played on, and nobody else watched since then.
I really like this team, but they disappoint me every year. I think they're a play-in team. Only because they disappoint consistently. They're falling apart chemistry-wise. I think Darius Garland's going to get traded. They just can't pull things together. Even if they make the playoffs, they're just like the Sixers, except worse. They got stomped by the Magic last year, and then they fell apart to, I believe it was the Knicks the year before, and that's fair too, but that was before they got really good. That was when they had Julius Randle and no Brunson. So I think the Cavs have disappointed continuously. Their chemistry's falling apart. Their core is getting weaker. And I think they're probably going to be a play-in team.
So I would say they're a regular season merchant because they don't show up during the playoffs.
No, they don't. I can do that, yeah. I just think they'll probably be the 6th seed, maybe the 7th. And if they're the 7th, they're playing. But I can rock with regular season merchant.
Do we need to talk about Boston?
All jokes aside, they're contenders. They just won a championship. They have a great team, fully structured, complete. It's going to be hard to beat Boston.
If we're being honest, being a 19-year-old and getting a ring, that's crazy for Jason Tatum. And they got Sam Hauser here to knock out threes. They got Luke Cornett.
X-Man, Xavier
They got Xavier Tillman Sr. Come on now. When's the last time anybody tried to dunk on Xavier?
Florida Gators stand up. We got Al Horford in the building.
Al Horford?
One of the old men.
The Big Nine or whatever. I'm making that up. he played with Joakim Noah, so he's a great player. But yeah, definitely contender team. If I could put him in a back-to-back, honestly,
they are the team to beat.
They are a super team.
They are the
heavy favorites, and if we are to choose any team,
it's probably Boston.
It's gonna be Boston.
But if a team's gonna beat them out of nowhere, it's probably the Heat.
That's true.
It's just what they do. I don't know. We got the fake LA team.
LA
man.
Clippers, man.
They changed their branding, and I still don't buy it.
It's the system. They got the system on there. He is the system.
I see this team. Yeah, I think they're a playing team. I think they're teetering on bad only because they lost Paul George. It feels like they've given up. They have Kevin Porter Jr., who, as much as I used to like him, beats women.
They got Nicholas Batum. Batum's a great player, but I don't think he's going to be carrying that team.
They got Kai Jones, who's going nuts. They got Mo Bamba, who's washed. Kawhi Leonard, who's always injured. James Harden, who I fear is also washed. And this team's just dying. They have Busy Bones Highland. And they don't even use him in the rotation. It's crazy.
They got Bones. They got KPJ. KPJ, as much as he beats women, he's a decent player.
He is great. He's so shifty.
They got Zubac. Zubac's a good defender.
He is.
Great center.
Great rebounder. Amazing rebounder.
They got, here's where it gets dicey, though. Their two main players. Obviously, I'm not going to say Zubac's the main player. But they got Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. So James Harden is exempt because that motherfucker does not even play half the time.
He's at the club.
It's not that he's at the club all the time. This motherfucker just doesn't want to play. He's too busy getting pissy over the simplest things, calling himself the system because his coach didn't play him in the last 30 seconds of a game or some shit like that.
He's going to request a trade to Vancouver and stop playing halfway through the year.
Man, you want to know where he's going next? The Guangdong Tigers, all right? He's going to straight up go overseas.
When you look at his hairline, you wonder what happened. That's like when it started.
Forehead than hairline.
That's when it started to go bad.
And Kawhi Leonard. Man, I love Kawhi Leonard. I loved him when he was on the Spurs. I loved him when he was on Toronto, especially. That motherfucker was
him teaming up with Paul George just feels like a waste now.
It really was, because it looked like it was going to be such a great duo. And then Kawhi just gets injured.
They were supposed to take over LA.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah, I know.
What's the stat? Especially with their super team, man. They were a 2K cheat code, but that was it. I'm gonna say plans is at most.
I think plans lock.
If we're being honest though, they might be bad. They might be bad.
It's past their time
now. But honestly, I feel like there's a lot more heat off the superstars now, and James Harden really shines and does more when he's got less stars around him. Because as much as
I just don't know if he can get to that role anymore.
I feel like he might not be at that level he was in, like, let's say 2018 or 2019. Oh, not at all. But he's still a great playmaker.
Yeah, he's great at playmaking. It's just back then he was so, like, he could take over scoring all he wanted.
This guy's dick eating.
I thought Giannis should have got the MVP and LeBron the other year. But
of course,
Harden was a great player in his time. I think it's just starting to be the end of both Kawhi and James Harden's prime.
On to the next, we got.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I'm shaking.
Fuck Memphis. Fuck Memphis.
Oh, you're just mad about D Rose.
Yeah,
man.
they waived the greatest guard ever.
He should have retired in Chicago. He should have signed a 10-day and retired in Chicago. It would have been lit. This team, though, I really like this team, especially with Ja coming back. I think the world's forgotten how good he is, and he is going to be a top 3 MVP candidate and really just lead this team to the 2nd seed, probably, maybe higher. I think he's going to lead Memphis to a top 4 seed. Maybe even the top seed in the West, just because the 2 years he was healthy, they were the number 2 seed, and they've gotten significantly better as a team since then. They have Marcus Smart, who will add for defense, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. If they can stay healthy, this team's gonna be really tightly knit chemistry-wise and really good on defense, with Ja being able to take over the game whenever he wants.
He would have had a great teacher in D Rose. I feel like that would have been a perfect fit for Ja Morant. But they got very, very similar play styles. They really like getting to that rack. Not great shooters at all. Both of them kind of suck.
They showed flashes.
Are you gonna tell me 33% shooting is great? I don't think they're gonna be a playoff lock. I feel like Ja Morant, he's too injury prone, and he's too questionable when it comes to the season, that I feel like when it gets to late season, he's not gonna be able to show up because either some shit's gonna happen. You could say, oh, he's really tuning up, but it's the same with Zion in the offseason. It's the same with Ben Simmons. How many times you seen Ben Simmons in the lab cooking up a new jumper?
Yeah, but
it's the same with Ja Morant.
No.
Ja Morant is always looking better each year. He's in his 6th fucking year.
But when he's on the court, he's one of the best players in the league.
But he has to stay on the court, and he can't. I would love to have this team as a playoff block. They got Jaren Jackson Jr. He's got DPOY. He's an amazing defensive
They got 2 DPOYs with Marcus Smart,
They got Marcus
too.
Smart and Jaren Jackson Jr. This team is going to be a defensive demon. They're going to have perimeter. They're going to have interior. They're going to have all of that shit.
And Zach Edey.
They're going to have a great
7'4" Wemby matchup.
All right, bro, I wouldn't say that much. He's a great person to have in the paint when you want Jaren guarding the mid.
Yeah, if you wanted to be able to switch and help.
Yeah, if you wanted great zone defense, then maybe Zach Edey's the go. Zach Edey, as you said before, he's slow. He's not that quick. So I feel like he's mainly going to be an under the rim rebounder, especially because he's so tall. Yeah, pick and roll. So for that on the offense, he's going to be, he might turn John Moran into Steph Curry, but he'd have to be shooting threes instead of guns if he wanted to get that level.
I say you call it. What are they?
Truth be told, regular season merchant, they haven't shown up in the playoffs.
They have. They made it to the conference finals, which is more than
how long ago
any of these teams have done, except the Bucks when they won the finals.
How long ago was that?
I want to say 3 years.
3 years ago. And since then, no, we're not talking about how they were 3 years. We're talking about how they are.
And I think they'll be better now because their players are better. Desmond Bane's gotten better. Jaren Jackson's gotten better. They have Marcus Smart. Gigi Jackson is a young player who's getting great. Vince Williams Jr. is a great defender.
They got Luke Kennard,
who can come off the bench and hit some shots. But no, I think I'm gonna veto you and I'm gonna put him in playoff locks just because I'm standing on it. It is my hot take, and I will let you get a veto throughout this video.
All right.
You can have whatever you want.
I'm gonna just say it right now. This is the same guy that tried to put the Bucks in a playoff lock. These motherfuckers.
I had to get one. I had to get one.
Dry spell. All right.
Yeah.
If Memphis is in the playoffs, I'll eat my words. But they don't look like it.
Well, they'll be in the playoffs, but if they're one of the top contenders,
if John Morant can stay healthy, stay out of that bullshit off court, which I hope he does,
Me too.
I really do hope that he shows up this year and silences all the people that are just like, he's an off court maniac. I want him to show up. You are super fun to watch as a rookie and in your second year. This is the new you. I feel like this is a chance to show everybody what you got. And speaking about showing everybody what you got, we're going to be going on to the next team, Atlanta Hawks, with one of the most shit on and over-hated people ever.
I hate him.
Trae Young. Listen, you can hate him all you want. You can rank him as an 89 in 2K all you want. He is snubbed consistently. He is a great player. He is a great shooter. He's a great guard. He might not be a great defender, no, but he's better than Steph Curry, so that's all you can.
The Hawks he's the only player on the Hawks. Jalen Johnson is getting better.
They got
but I think he's the only player on the Hawks that says something. I mean, they had the #1 pick last year and one of the worst draft class to have the #1 pick. This team is probably going to tank again, and I could see Trae Young getting traded. They already traded DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. I feel like it's time for them to enter a rebuild, and I don't even think they're going to try to win. So I think this team is definitely in the bad category just because I don't think they want to win. I think they're going into a rebuild. They traded for a bunch of picks, and I could see Trae Young getting moved before the trade deadline. Yeah,
I would say bad, yeah. Disrespect to the Atlanta Hawks aside, He's
great.
He's a great player. He got snubbed last year. I love Jalen Brunson. I love the Knicks.
Jalen Brunson was great, yeah.
I don't like New York, though. Fuck New York.
Yeah, New York's kind of whack.
You guys will talk about how good New York is and then move down to Florida. Make up your fucking mind. If it's so good up there, why the fuck are you coming down here just to drive a BMW?
You don't belong.
You don't belong. Go home. Go home. Bye-bye. On to the next one.
Speaking of Florida, we got the Miami Heat.
Speaking of Florida, man, one of the most overrated players so far, Jimmy Butler. This is my favorite player in the league. But when you get outshined, man, what the fuck? Jimmy Butler, I love you, but you gotta stay healthy. You are a dog in the playoff, but regular season, you're not showing up. And that makes it to where the team can barely even get to the playoffs because you're on your ass doing everything else, getting injured before the playoffs. So now your team has to go into the playoffs without you, and you're supposed to be their star. You're supposed to be their #1 player. But when you're not there consistently, you might as well just be like Kawhi Leonard.
I like what you say about the Heat because I know you're very passionate about this team, and you said it well.
And get rid of Tyler Hero.
Jeez, okay. I think Hami's going to be great. It's his second year. He's going to get better. I mean, he's looked great his rookie year, and it's only going to go up from here. And his role should increase this year with just them seeing how good he did. I mean, I imagine he's going to start, and I look forward to seeing how he does. Bam is looking great in the offseason. I think he needs to be a little more aggressive, and that can lead to this team getting some more wins, especially when Jimmy is hurt. They need Bam to take over a little bit because Tyler Hero can't go out and just take 25 shots and shoot 35%. Sometimes he gets hot. lot. Duncan Robinson definitely worked on his defense and interior game a little bit last year. I hope to see that improve. This team's all right. I think they could be a play-in team in the East.
They're
the lower
gonna be a
play-in
play-in team.
Yeah.
They're always a play-in team. That's always how they are. They're going to be a play-in team this year. And the problem with this team is that it's a very flip-the-switch team. They get hot and they get cold by the flip of a switch. You got Tyler Hero, as you said, shooting 97 shots every night like he's Kobe, but not making shit like he's Ja Morant. Jimmy Butler needs to stop getting injured. Bam is one of the greatest players on this team so far. The greatest player, I might say. But Bam looks like he's going to be a really great first option. Build a team around. And as much as I love Jimmy Butler, either he gets his head in the game or he goes. And Jaime, you said he's an amazing rookie. He was in the rookie race and he was versing Chet and Wembanyama. He is a great backup player to have when Jimmy Butler is out.
He plays very hard and he plays very mature for just being a rookie. I know he was an older rookie. He's 23. He's very calm and collected, but very hardworking, very hustle, good defender, can get shots. He doesn't get overwhelmed in hard moments. I think he's got so much potential.
But on to the next team, we got the Charlotte Hornets. Man,
this is tough because I can see Brandon Miller taking a big leap this year.
How many people on this team are gonna punch their girlfriend, man?
LaMelo Ball, if he can stay healthy, which he never can,
if
like
he can
he's
stop crashing
always
his fucking cars.
He's always injured. I think if LaMelo stays healthy, continues to develop, Brandon Miller continues to develop, Miles Bridges stays out of trouble, this team can be really good. They have decent bench players. Mark Williams is a good center out of Duke. I think that this team could be playing at best, but in the future, if these pieces stay together and continue to develop, I could see them having a good future. But for now, I think they're probably a play-in team.
Without LaMelo, bad.
But lower play-in, like 9 or 10.
Yeah, they're definitely good. Like, if we're having play-in, we're going to put Miami Heat in front of the Clippers. And at the end of the video, we're going to go through, read all these, and then re-rank them into where we think they'll be. This might be a little bit of a longer video, but Miles, as much as he likes your music, man, Y-Ghost has one thing to say to you, and that is, keep rapping. You're a great rapper. Stop hitting your girlfriend.
Wait, he did that?
No, I don't think. Anyways, on to the next team.
The Utah Spaz. Let's go, man.
Bad.
Yeah,
they got Colin
Keontae
Sexton.
George, man.
They got the rat tail.
Keontae George second year. If it wasn't his second year, I'd want him to be most improved player. I don't think sophomore season should qualify, but I expect him to take another big jump. I don't know.
So Filipowski looks like he's going to be not a good, but he looks like he's going to be a decent bench player coming off. Maybe if you need like a 3 or something like that. Laurie, we already know about Laurie, man. He's a dog.
He's the one piece on this team that actually makes sense.
The one piece.
John Collins I don't think he has a place in the league. He doesn't feel like a player that likes basketball to me. Walker Kessler's developing well. He's a great defender. He's a little slow. He needs to work on his offense a little more, but he's a good player off the bench or even to start alongside Lowry if you want to go bigs. Like I said, Keontae George is great. Jordan Clarkson, huge spark off the bench. Taylor Hendricks, I expect to develop more in his second season. He'll get more playing time. They have Jalen Williams' brother on this team, Cody Williams, who they drafted.
And they got Patty Mills.
Yeah,
the greatest player of all time.
You can't forget about Patty Mills. If you get an Olympic version of Patty Mills, this team's a championship. But without that, I think they're safe and bad.
They're safe and bad, yeah. Colin Sexton's not like that. Laurie's the only one that's kind of like that. And
Keontae George, man. Next, we got the
McLaughlin here. Make sure you subscribe.
Kings with one of the greatest trades of this year. They got DeMar DeRozan on the Kings. It looks like that De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan,
and Malik Monk off the bench. He was almost 6th man of the year if he didn't get hurt. Malik Monk's a great spark.
And McLaughlin. I'm sorry. You know how And we got McLaughlin. He looks like he's a great player.
Don't even talk about him. Just talk about McDaniels. He's a good defender. He's not as good as his brother.
We got the Flying Fox. We got Sabonis.
He was just a rebound machine.
I might say, because I don't know if they're going to be a regular season merchant.
I think this team's a play-in team only because
I think they are too.
The West is so stacked. They have so much talent. It's a fight. But I think play-in.
But I feel like they got a decent chance, especially with that triple combo with the Fox, Sabonis, and DeRozan now. They got a great player off the bench. They got Malik Monk. They got McLaughlin.
I think it's a little worrisome with their center depth. And I think Keegan Murray just needs to develop his offense continuing because he is a great offensive player. He just needs to get better at moving off the ball, passing a little better. He's a good scorer. He just needs to work on the other parts of his offensive game.
And on to the next team, the best looking team so far. maybe besides the Celtics.
I got a controversial take.
New York
It's
Knicks.
cooking.
Number one, you got rid of the Villanova boys. New York, what the fuck
That
are you
hurt,
doing?
man. Chemistry hurts.
Minus 300,000 team chemistry, man. You had
That was rough.
that would have gotten them to the finals alone. But I will say though,
good move.
Jalen Brunson, amazing player. They got Cat, who looks like he is going to be a dog, and finally finish that stupid center thing they had going on where they didn't know if they wanted to have a good center or not.
I mean, even because you know how Cat is. He's kind of soft. He doesn't like to play center that much. That's why they had Gobert. Now they have him and Mitchell Robinson, which Mitchell Robinson struggles with health issues. But if you run them two together with the lineup of like Brunson, Anunoby, and Bridges, the defense will really pick up because even though Brunson's a good defender, but he is kind of small and he can get lost on occasion. And Towns, he just doesn't really have, he's gotten better. Bridges, Anunoby, and Robinson are all really good defenders, and then off the bench you could have Josh Hart, Miles McBride, who are both really good, hardworking defenders. I love Miles McBride. He can come in and get a shot.
These Knicks, man, they're looking really good. They got their number one being Brunson. They got Cat as a center that they can consistently play. He's not really getting injured too much. He's a great player to have.
He's consistent, and he's got one of the best jump shots of all time for a big
And
man.
they got Mikal Bridges. He is an amazing player, great three-point shooter,
great defender,
amazing defender, especially on the perimeter.
And if you pair that alongside Anunoby, that wing defense is crazy.
He is going to have a field day. It's going to be like Thanksgiving every day.
Let's rank this team together. Where are we putting
Josh
them?
Hart.
3, 2, 1. I think they're contenders.
Playoffs.
I think they're contenders.
Yeah.
I think we can move them up there.
Easily. And Josh Hart, you know, shout out to Josh Hart.
He is the heart
That's
of this
my little
team.
brother.
I love Josh Hart. I used to use him when he was on. Whoa. With that aside, when he was on the Lakers and like a rookie, he won Summer League MVP, and so I plugged him in on 2K. It was like Braun's first season or second season there, and I would just like go on rookie and shoot like 1,000 threes with him, and I thought he was gonna be like Steph Curry one day.
Yep. And shout out to when James Harden smacked himself in the face with the ball, and he was
he
like,
looked
"What is going on with this?"
One of the fun.
One of the fondest memories I have of Josh Hart is watching him as a child grow up.
One of the funniest podcasts on the internet is Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart talking basketball and just life in general. There's some funny guys.
Yeah, Josh Hart, you're funny, but you're only funny when you're talking shit about Jalen Brunson.
I like his ears.
What the fuck? And they got one of my favorite forwards ever, Precious Achiuwa. On to the next, we got the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh my
regular
god.
season merchant.
I can't live.
They've gotten gentlemen swept back-to-back years.
They might be playing. It hurts. I think regular season merchant fits. I really want to see LeBron make another run, but I don't know if they have it. They fail so consistently. I think Austin Reeves is probably what Austin Reeves is going to be for the rest of his career. I don't think he's going to get much better. Their bench isn't that good. Cam Reddish, I hope, can get a better role in this team. I don't know if Bronny's going to play much. He's probably going to be a G League player.
Why did you get rid of Caruso?
But you have LeBron and Anthony Davis, and that's probably going to get you in the playoffs, and hopefully they don't run into the Nuggets in the first round, because then they'll just get swept again.
And Rui Hachimura. Rui looks great. He looks amazing.
He's a good player. Half of this team's going to be traded by the fucking deadline.
And Gabe Vincent got traded to the team with a bigger contract just to do worse.
He did so bad. He doesn't belong here, but I don't think anyone's going to trade for him because no one wants him.
They're going to be playing.
Okay,
they haven't missed playoffs in a while, but I don't feel like they're that... Okay. I don't know if they're...
I think they'll make it through the play-in. I just think they're going to be 7 through 10. I think that's fair.
Because they were struggling with Golden State last year to see who would get kicked out.
Yeah.
Apparently they wanted to get kicked out.
I can't believe... If they run into the Nuggets again...
it's over.
It's so bad. I'd retire.
Yep, especially because you get to see your old point guard, which everybody shit talked, demolish your team.
Oh, that is a narrative. I like that. That's good thinking. On
Brody,
to the next team, though.
I'm looking forward to next year.
Yes,
well,
sir.
technically this year. I'm looking forward to it, Brody.
But on to the next team, the Magic. The Magic are getting significantly better every year. Their defense is amazing. The problems we need to work on is Paulo Banchero's efficiency. He is a great playmaker, great defender,
He's
great
getting
scorer.
better on the three.
Yes, he has.
Each
and
year.
I think he's going to develop it further. The biggest problem for this team in general is just shot making. They are very streaky, but more often than not, they are struggling to make shots consistently. I think also a lot of their offseason moves, players go to Miami. Players don't go to Orlando. It's not the ideal destination if you're going to Florida in free agency.
But that's only because Magic has had a history of being a very bad team, and they're just now coming out from that Detroit Pistons level, and they're finally becoming an actual play-in team. And I'm gonna say it now, Paolo Banchero has been getting better each and every single year. He's looking really good, and I feel like this year he's gonna take another step. I also feel like he's gonna get injured. And speaking of injuries, besides Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs was doing amazing last year on defense.
He was so good. He was everywhere.
Amazing defensive player until he got injured. And I feel like when he's not injured, he's one of the best defensive guards on a team.
Yeah,
period.
I mean, he has so much heart. He's like Josh Hart.
Hustle.
But he's way faster.
Okay,
he's annoying. He's a pest.
I wouldn't say Josh Hart.
Jonathan Isaac is also a great defender. He's injured a lot. That last year was his first season really playing, and most of it was on a minute restriction. So hopefully this year he stays healthy. When he plays, he is huge for the Magic, just keeping them flowing and making that defense really stifling off the bench. He might even squeeze into a starting role depending on how Wendell Carter does and what their lineups look like. But I could definitely see it. I look forward to the progression of Anthony Black. I feel like Cole Anthony's probably going to get traded. It feels like his time in Orlando is coming to an end.
Which sucks.
It does, because I like Cole Anthony a lot. But overall, I think this team is probably, I'd say, maybe even playoff lock. For the East, they're getting better every year. Their defense is amazing. I think I could see it.
Franz Wagner, I mean, he's a knock-him-down three-point shooter. You got a great role-playing bench player like KCP. I wouldn't call him a bench player, but he's a great six-man role player to have on a team.
It just feels kind of crazy having them in playoff locks and looking under and seeing Joel Embiid and Giannis. But I think it's okay.
Well, Joel, I mean, we've seen how he was.
Yeah.
That man cried.
Giannis won a championship, but that was a while ago. I believe in the Bucks, but we picked regular season merchants. I think we can stick with it.
All right, and I think with that being said, we're on to the next team.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks. So, to start things off,
R.I.P. Derek Lively's mom.
Yeah, happened a bit ago. Still, R.I.P. to Derek Lively's mom. You know, he's a dog. He was fighting for that spot last year.
I really like the way he, I don't know, he's really passionate. He worked really hard, and he won a lot of respect from me.
Yep, he looks like he's gonna be a great player. He's a great new player, a good, new talent. We got the MVP for this year, Luka Doncic. I feel like Luka is going to turn it up this year on defense, because he is, he's like James Harden on defense. That's just how it is. You're a great playmaker, great shooter, great scorer, but your defense sucks, man. You can't be doing that at 6'7", man. You got to do better than that. Kyrie Irving, he's getting a bit older, but he's still got that. And now with the new addition of Klay Thompson, he is going to be a great defender. I don't know if he's going to be that guy shooting threes, but I feel like he's got something to prove now this year after getting traded. So he might start knocking him down a lot more. And Spencer Dinwiddie, I love you.
I think this team worked on a lot of their defense at the trade deadline and in the offseason. I think having Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and PJ Washington, which PJ can also stretch the floor really well. Najee Marshall from the Pelicans, they're all really good defenders. Dante Exum came out of nowhere from a whole nother league after leaving for however long and did really good on defense and honestly impressed me really big. I did not think I would ever see him in the NBA again, but that is the whole reason why they started winning, is their defense wasn't terrible, and you saw what could happen with their defense improving. And now they have Klay Thompson as well, so if Klay can find a good rhythm in this team, it could be pretty dangerous.
2026, LeBron is going to ask to get traded to the Mavericks. That's
crazy. So where do we put them?
I think they're playoff lock.
Yeah.
Playoff lock. I'm going to say contender, actually, because they're a good team. They're a great team, but the only issue they have is their consistency.
I can put them in contender. I can deal with that. Okay,
on to the next team.
It's the Brooklyn Nets. Cameron Thomas is one of my favorite players. He's going to put up 30 points a game.
We don't really need to talk about this
Nick
team.
Claxton is good.
And Ben motherfucking Simmons in the lab.
Did you see that offseason mixtape?
That offseason, bro.
God.
He's cooking up a new three, and he's gonna show you 76.
I think he's gonna be MVP this year. And Noah Clowney is gonna be.
And Dorian Finney-Smith, man.
Oh my God, this team is so adorable.
Stacked. I would go as far to say the entire team's getting an MVP.
They might be in Pistons, but I'll give it bad. On to the next.
Nah, nobody's gonna be like the Pistons. Cam Thomas is besides Mikal Bridges, who was also one of the only ones.
I play like Cam Thomas,
but no, you don't.
Because I take all his shots.
You play like Cam Thomas shot selection, but with Joakim Noah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But Cam Thomas looks like he is going to be on an island of his own for this entire season. Like, he was struggling when KD, James Harden, and Kyrie were on this team, but now that those guys are gone, and now that they're doing nothing on every other team, Cameron Thomas has been shining a lot more. I'm looking forward to seeing him improve each and every year.
He just needs to work on his defense and playmaking, and he'll be a serious player.
Yep, Jalen Brunson, watch out. Yeah, on to the next team. This team's just bad.
The Denver Nuggets. Put them in contenders.
We don't need to talk about them. The greatest addition they had is Russell Westbrook on the team.
That's facts.
He is going to be the greatest six man they have ever seen.
Great locker room guy too.
Yep, and I feel like he's not only going to guide someone like Jamal Murray to that step into the stardom direction, because he's already been doing great, but I feel like Russ is going to help him get to that better, because he's going to take off the offensive load off of his shoulders. He's a great veteran to have off the bench. They're finals contenders.
Yeah,
easily.
definitely. I think it's them and the Celtics are probably the favorites. A couple things I want to touch on is Aaron Gordon. He's been great. He was really good against the Lakers because they had nothing to do. They didn't have enough bodies to throw at both him and Jokic, and it was one or the other. They were doing whatever they wanted. Michael Porter Jr. just needs to pass a little more, better shot selection, stay healthy. And then Peyton Watson, someone who is going to be coming off the bench most likely. He was good last season. Expect him to become one of the best defenders in the league and a much better shooter / off the ball mover. I think he's going to get a much larger role in this team and possibly be one of the better six men in the league. The Nuggets going to be great. I'm excited to see them.
We got the Indiana Pacers.
Bro, they push it. They push the what? The pace. They're only going to get better with Pascal and Tyrese now they've had time to work together. Miles Turner is a great player. Nimhard really improved last year. He was showing his defense in 3. I think Aaron Nesmith.
So I'm gonna just cut you off. You know, Hallie, I was watching you when you were in the Olympics, man. You looked great. You know, you and Jason Tatum looked great on the team. You know, you guys had a lot of great moments, especially when you had to go get KD his Gatorade.
I thought it was awesome how you posted your medal after and you were just like, yeah, I got this for participating.
Yeah, your participation reward.
But no, Tyrese is a great player. He's only going to get better. I think Pascal Siakam and him are going to really work on their chemistry. I could see Benedict Mathurin taking a huge leap this year if he can just stay healthy as well.
I can see Obi Toppin also doing great this year.
McConnell is great off the bench. For such a short guy, his defense is menacing, and he has an unstoppable little floater in the paint.
TJ is quick. TJ's quick with it, and he's got a great defensive mind, and I think that's what really helps him. They got James Wiseman. They got the wise man.
Is he going to turn into what he was supposed to be? No. He's probably not going to play much, and
I think we could argue on that, but I'm not going to.
So where do we put this team?
If you want to put him in playoff lock, maybe we can.
I think we would do Pacers and regular season Merchants. Can we agree?
All right,
or
yeah.
Playoff lock.
I'm gonna say regular season.
Okay, bet.
They're not like that.
On to the next.
On to the best looking uniforms when they're in that green, that little Halloween. The New Orleans Pelicans, man, I'm gonna let you
getting DeJounte Murray. Zion looks so handsome, so in shape, so strong. Trey Murphy III is only gonna get better. Herb Jones, first team all defense. Jordan Hawkins will hopefully get a bigger role. Jose Alvarado is just hitting guys from the back and getting balls. And hopefully Brandon Ingram's gonna get traded because he does not want to be there. And I think it's that time. And I'm curious to see if they can increase their center depth if they trade him, because that is what they're lacking.
Yeah, go to Phoenix.
It's looking like Zion's going to have to start at center, and that's going to be the hardest part. If this team has to play a team like the Nuggets in the playoffs, how are they going to guard him? They don't have people to throw. I mean, they have Zion. And then like Daniel it's not a team that has center depth. And that's going to be their biggest problem. I don't want to see them get rid of the core pieces, but hopefully they can get a center. Maybe they could trade for someone. Maybe they could get like a Mitchell Robinson and another piece to pair alongside, and that would really help out the Knicks too. I don't know how the salary would work out, but I think that Zion, if he can stay healthy, the big if, with DeJounte Murray adding some defense, this team can go as far as he takes them, and I think that they are at least a playoff lock, but depending on health, I think they could slide to play-in, so I think play-in is a safer spot to put them.
40 points. That's all I'm gonna say.
When it mattered too.
That's all I'm gonna. All I need to say is Zion, 40 points.
So do we go playoff lock or play-in? Play-in.
Okay. Easily.
On to the next.
The Toronto. Oh man. The Toronto Raptors.
This team's.
They're
I
ass.
don't know, man.
This team is that they got
They
total.
are,
They got
but I
total.
think they have a chance at play-in. They could be that 10 seed in the East. RJ Barrett, man,
The only one on this team that looks solid is Emmanuel Quickly.
He should be a big impact player. I think he could be most improved,
Hey,
especially
Toronto
with his role.
fucking sucks, man.
With his role improving, I think Emmanuel Quickly could be a potential most improved player. But this team,
This
do we
team
put them
sucks.
in bad?
This team sucks.
Do
If
we
we're
put
being
them in
honest,
bad?
they barely get to the play-ins. They suck.
They're bad. Okay. On to the next. We got the Houston Rockets. And I think this team's going to be surprisingly good this year. If Amin Thompson stays healthy, this team has so much defense. Cam Whitmore is developing. Steven Adams should be healthy. Tari Eason should also be healthy. I think Sengun's only going to get better. Fred VanVleet is what he is, but he's a great player. I think Jalen Green's getting Fred VanVleet high and then engaging on some Josh Christopher-like activities with them. And I think that's the Rockets' downfall.
I feel like the real downfall in Houston is that Sengun, he's a great player, great playmaker. You know, he's not quick. He's not quick at all. He definitely makes up for it in his defensive mind and in his playmaking. Amen looked
good.
He looked great, but as you
He didn't
said,
stay healthy.
he needs to stay healthy. And the only weak link I see in this team is Jalen Green. He's too much of a highlight hooper. He's not playing basketball.
But
He's
I
playing
think towards the end
one-on-one.
of the season, he started to show a little more maturity, which is the other problem with this team is just maturity. Cam Whitmore, gonna develop, but a lot of players on this team that are developing are really young. And if they just pull it together, I think they just needed to lock in. If they lock in, I think they could be a good playoff team. Maybe not this year with their lack of experience, but I think they could definitely make the play-in, and I think that's where I'd put them. Are they bad regular season merchants or play-in? I could see them in regular season merchants.
I can too.
Just because they don't have experience to win in the playoffs. I think regular season merchant is right for them just because they're not gonna do too much in the playoffs. On to the next team. We got the man, 7'4", greased
Chris
up.
Paul. We got 39-year-old Chris Paul.
Look forward to his clutch baskets, man.
Chris Paul with the dagger to cut the lead to 42. Victor Wembanyama is a great scorer, an amazing defender. Obviously, he's gonna get DPOY this year. I can see them
switchable.
I can see them be what? He's a great interior defender, and you know, when it comes to that midi, he's amazing. He starts to fall off near the perimeter, but he's still an amazing perimeter defender. He's gonna win DPOY this year if they don't like suck Gobert's dick completely off. And an amazing add to this team is an actual point guard like Chris Paul, so that they're not playing Sochan at the forward guard like what they were trying to do. I mean, I love you, Pop, but what the fuck are you doing, man?
Also, they got a good rookie with Castle, and I think Keldon Johnson, Vassell will be able to actually play in a role now that they have a good point guard like Chris Paul.
It's Trey Jones, man.
Unfortunately, Trey Jones is going to have a decreased role, but I think he'll be good off the bench.
Trade him.
I don't know. I like him. I think he could be good for an off the bench playmaker. He's also pretty good if he can get into that mid to outer paint area. He's got a good floater. He's pretty creative. I don't know. I think this team could be a play-in, maybe regular season merchant. I don't think that they're gonna win anything yet, but I think it's all based on how good Wemby does.
With that addition of 40-year-old Chris Paul, I don't feel like he's going to be adding that much. He's a great player. I don't feel like he's going to be adding too much.
But Wemby's just going to get better. And I think that's something to take into consideration. They're going to be trying to win this year. I think they could be regular season merchant in terms of just making a playoff spot and not doing much with it.
I'd put them at the very forefront of that. On the cusp of being playing, but not good.
Okay, yeah.
Luka Doncic's favorite team, the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant is still that guy, still the Slim Reaper.
And Bol, he's great.
Bol, you know, Shaq's favorite player, apparently.
If only he had that work ethic, man. He'd be like...
No wonder it's Shaq's favorite player. KD, great player, definitely that guy. You should probably cut off a bit of your feet so that you're like a size below, and then maybe you'll get farther in the playoffs. Devin Booker, I mean, he was doing his thing in the Olympics. That's all I need to say. KD and D-Book look like they were doing God's work in the Olympics. For right now, I feel like they're a playoff lock, honestly.
I don't agree. Bradley Beal was a terrible fit all along, and I think they showed that last year. Their defense is pretty piss poor. Their depth isn't that good. Grayson Allen put on weight. He's 235 now and pretty ripped, but I don't know if that's going to help his shooting, which is what he's there for. I just don't like this team's build. Kevin Durant, Booker, and Beal belong together. They all have the same kind of archetype, except different heights, and I don't think it fits together, especially with them not having good supporting defense. This team, honestly, I think is going to be regular season merchants to play. Compromise with me in regular season merchants, I think I'd be cool with that.
I'm saying playoff lock, honestly. Look forward to 90% of their shots being taken in the midi. It's a great shooting team.
I don't like how this team's built. I don't think they fit. I think they showed that last year, and they're only going to get worse this year.
I'm going to agree then, regular season. Because they might not have that chemistry, but they've got such raw talent.
On to the next, we got the OKC Thunder.
And I think talk about this. Contender.
They're definitely contenders. Chet's only going to get better. Jalen Williams also going to get better.
Caruso.
This team is so young. They have Alex Caruso, who is going to be a much better piece fit-wise than Josh Giddey was, because he can actually hit a jump shot, plays great defense. Lou Dort also hit a jump shot, plays great defense. They got Isaiah Hardenstein, who also plays great defense. Isaiah Joe, who can come off the bench and hit a shot. Kassan Wallace, great 3-and-D player. You got to save the MVP. My pick for MVP this upcoming season.
Jalen Williams.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
SGA. You know, Mr. 30 bomb every single night. Contending team because they got a main point guard like Shai, who is him. All right, this guy does not have a game below 20 points, and if he does, he wasn't playing. They got Chet Holmgren, who rookie of the year almost. They basically have a shorter Wembanyama on their team, so they got SGA, they got Chet, who's a great player. They got Jalen
getting better and better every year. Bro, I think the pieces they put around, in addition to what they had last year, just really complements this team, especially on the defensive end. Kassan Wallace was a rookie last year, but he showed defensive flashes. Isaiah Joe can be a spark, and this team's just going to be really complete with a superstar / MVP caliber player and a great second option in Jalen Williams on offense and a great second option on defense with Chet, and everyone can shoot, and it's pretty awesome. But I think, yeah, definitely contenders. I think Shai's going to win MVP, and I think this team is going to have the best chance of giving a team like the Nuggets a run for their money because they have bodies to throw at Jokic. They do have...
I'm going to cut you off real quick. This guy, and I came over here ready to record. This man had an MVP thing written down on a piece of paper. Guess who he had? He had Giannis, who's a regular season merchant. He had Ja Morant in MVP.
He's coming back.
And SGA.
Yeah.
SGA I can understand. Giannis I can sort of understand. But Ja Morant.
On tip.
He is always... This man used to have Ja Morant as his wallpaper on his phone, man. This guy eating dick.
Flirtatious.
But Caruso looks like he's going to be a great player this year, especially for this team. He's adding more defense than Josh Giddey did. Maybe less playmaking, but I would sacrifice that playmaking when you got someone like SGA and Chet Holmgren for a little bit more defense.
You don't
Caruso's
need
a
the
great
playmaking
perimeter.
on this team. SGA does it. You have players off the bench like Hassan Wallace.
Contender. Finals team. This team is going to the finals. Would I say that SGA is going to be an MVP? Maybe. He's got a chance at it, not Ja Morant. With that being said, we're going to be on to the next team. The most upsetting trade yet. Minnesota Timberwolves, man. You got Big
Nas
Jelly.
Reed.
Big Jelly. Big Jelly.
Rob
Also,
Dillingham, bro.
With that being said, shout out to James Quinterly, you know, Big Jelly JQ.
And I'm very excited to see Rob Dillingham.
I'm excited to see how DiVincenzo is going to fit on this team.
I think he's going to be great. I just think there's so much going on that he's going to be a spark probably off the bench, which is a good role for him. But I think he wants a starting role, so I'm curious to see how they do the rotations. I could definitely see him in the starting lineup. I just don't know how they're going to do things. Nikhil Alexander-Walker's good off the bench, good defender, can spark things. Jaden McDaniels, one of the best defenders in the entire league. And he was first team all defense, could be DPOY, but we know Wemby's going to do some things this year. Mike Conley, getting up there in age, but really consistent, good veteran, passes the ball really well, and that's what this team lacks a little bit, is the playmaking at the point guard position. Anthony Edwards, as we know, is just getting better and better every year, and he's got that killer instinct.
A great off-the-bench player, someone like Joe Ingles. When you need a three, this motherfucker's like Batman. You call on him, he is delivering, all right? I would love to say that they're a contending team, but I just feel like they're a playoff lock.
I also feel like they're a playoff lock. The Julius Randle trade, I don't like. I don't like it. I don't think this makes the team better. I think it's going to be a chemistry issue between him, Edwards, and Gobert, and I think you're going to see Ant get frustrated a lot on the court with how much Randall likes to have the ball and how much Rudy doesn't know what to do with the ball. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Ant to perform.
Because Rudy Gobert doesn't really have an offensive bag, and now they got Julius Randle, they're going to start putting more for Nas Reed. I feel like Big Jelly is going to get a lot more play time now.
I can see that. He's a really good spark off the bench. I don't see them putting him in the starting lineup just because.
Rudy
but
Gobert's
he could
got
be
that
sixth man
defense.
of the year again, which would be great. On to the next team. Bad. So bad.
We can't even talk about them. Like, who do they got?
Even talk
they got
about
Shaedon
them.
Sharp. They got
Shaedon Sharp's
Anthony
gonna
Simons.
get better. Scoot Henderson might get better, but
They got
he turns the
Matisse
ball over a
Thybulle.
lot.
Matisse Thybulle, you were good 8 years ago.
Yeah, Portland.
Scoot Henderson,
He's gonna
get
get
off
better,
the team.
maybe?
Get off the team.
I don't know.
Save yourself.
On to the next. It's just Steph now.
AKA the play-in Warriors. That's what the fuck they are.
They just got Buddy healed. Their best center is Trace Jackson Davis. Kevon Looney's good, but he doesn't play long. It just feels like Steph is going to have a lot of pressure. If there's any injuries, this team's going to win no games. I don't see them winning. I would almost put them in bad just because how much is on Steph's shoulders, but it's Steph Curry, so I think this is a play-in team.
We're on to the Wizards.
Oof.
Pistons tier.
They don't belong.
They don't belong.
I think, honestly, the Wizards are probably going to be worse than the Pistons. It's crazy because they have so many pieces that should make this team somewhat decent on the Pistons, but they just don't develop. The Wizards are the opposite. Their pieces are just dying.
It looks like they would have a good setup because they got Corey Kispert, they got Sadiq Bey.
Bilal
they got
Coulibaly is really good on defense and could develop.
Bagley, they got Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole looked really good in his rookie year.
I have a Marvin Bagley jersey.
I know.
I thought he was
They got
great.
Valanciunas. It looks like they'd be a good team, but they are just so fucking bad. They're just so bad.
And I would mention Alexander Sarr, and I do think he has a future in this league. But man, going 0 of 15 in Summer League is crazy. Summer League means nothing, though. He could be great, and he could be what brings this team out of death eventually. Okay, let's get to reorganizing this list a little bit.
All right,
Just
so
looking at it, I think we have bad and Pistons right.
So looking at this, I'm gonna say it right now. I feel like the Pistons are gonna do better than the Washington Wizards. Washington Wizards are going to be the worst team in the league only if Scoot Henderson does not play good.
The Nets are probably the realistic worst team, but I could see them getting some cheese wins off of Cam Thomas antic. I hope Detroit develops, but it's Detroit, and the Wizards are doomed. I think the Spurs have potential to jump out. I also think the Hawks, but I don't think they want to. Utah could maybe do something, and Toronto is probably the best besides the Spurs, just depending on Wemby, because Toronto at least has a coherent team with depth and Scotty Barnes, who is a good player, good on defense. They have RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly. They have potential to make a play-in, but I do think that they do fit in bad. And I wouldn't really change anything here. I mean, the next two categories, we have regular season merchants and play-in. And I think we need one more Eastern Conference play-in team, and I think it's the Cavs. I honestly, I think they're going to be in the play-in games. I think they're going to have a rough year. I think they might trade Darius Garland, and I don't know if this year is going to be the year they put anything together. So I'd probably bump them down.
Think about the teams when they're fully healthy. I would say the Clippers have a better team when they're healthy.
I do see that. You think Hornets drop to the
I
bottom?
think Hornets drop to the bottom. Because as I said before, they're on the cusp of being bad. The Clippers are bad. They're bad. But are they worse than the Hornets? The Hornets only have one good player, and that's LaMelo. And LaMelo, he's kind of injury prone. You know? Not like Lonzo, but...
I think moving up, we have regular season merchants and playoff locks. I think we need more teams in the playoff locks, and I think we both pick a team. And I think with having Giannis and finals experience and Dame, I think the only thing holding them back is health. I think they'll figure it out better this year. And I think that they are a playoff lock, and it depends on Giannis's health, how they do in the playoffs.
So if I'm looking between the 76ers, who got a history of never showing up for a playoff, Bucks, who have been on a losing streak,
But they have won a finals in recent history.
They
More
have,
recent than...
but so have the Lakers. I would say that...
But we know that the Lakers are falling apart. We know that LeBron's 40. We know that they have no depth, and
the issue
they were
with
worse than the Bucks last season.
The issue with the 76ers isn't that they're falling apart. The issue with the 76ers is that they
They're
don't show
unproven.
up. But the Bucks are falling apart as well. Ever since they got rid of Drew Holiday, they have been kind of falling apart. Like, Dame had that one good game at the start, but other than that, he's not been showing up at all.
I still think Giannis is top 3. Honestly, I think he might be the best player in the league still, but I think he's top 3 when he's healthy for sure. And I just don't think with the team that's around them that you can just... I think they have to be a playoff lock. So All
right, so we couldn't agree on the Bucks. I was saying that they were a regular season merchant because the past 2 years, they have been great in the regular season, but because of Giannis getting slightly injured and not being there for crucial games, they have always lost in the first round. And so I was saying that they were a regular season merchant, but, you know, Ghost over here was saying that they are a playoff lock because they're always consistently number 3. And that's why we decided to improvise and make it to where they are not a regular season merchant, but they're also not a playoff lock. They're indecisive because they're a good team, but they're also wishy-washy. You can't really like know with them. You know, either Giannis gets injured and it all falls apart, or he stays healthy, wins another ring like in 2021. But there's just no way to tell that, so we're putting them in between. We made a new one, and I think this list is decent in my own opinion.
I think the only thing really left is out of the contenders, I think we pick who we think would go to the finals. Who do you think makes the East Finals?
Miami Heat.
I'm gonna go with Boston from the contenders, and then out west,
I'm gonna just have to say the Knicks.
yeah, I'm gonna go with the Thunder. I think Boston will probably win again, even though I don't want them to.
We can't say anything bad about Boston because a bunch of Jason Tatum dick riders are gonna come and just be like, "Are you guys mad that we got a ring?"
With all that said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment, make fun of the list, appreciate the list.
I want to know what you guys think about this Bucks rating. Do you think that they are a playoff lock? Do you agree with Ghost, or do you agree with me in saying that they are a regular season merchant? I want to know, so make sure you write that down below in the comments if you made it this far. And if you did, thank you for watching.
If you made it this far, you're insane, and I appreciate you. With all that said, baby, enjoy basketball, stay up, and I'm excited for the season. I hope you are too.
And thank you for watching.